Chair, you might have been out and just see things on the floor.
Okay, if we could all just please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome. Okay, thank you for taking your time to help with the comprehensive plan to the village of Washingtonville. We're in for a long run. I put something together, an introduction on November 21st. I'm not going to read everything. November 21st, we did enter a 6-month moratorium with 2 6-month options. We did hire a planning consultant. He will be down here actually the next meeting, which is the 18th. It's a Tuesday night. He's going to be coming down, spending the day here, and then joining us
Is
at
that a
night.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
I believe that's a Wednesday.
Oh, you just said a Tuesday night.
Did I? We also have, I also reached out to Kate Schmidt from the Orange County Planning Committee, so hopefully she's going to be here also to just talk about what we want to do here as a village. Everyone in here is a stakeholder, all residents. I know Jim is going to be handling our historical. He remembers pretty much everything that happened here in the
Comes from being old.
village. I wasn't saying that, but I'm glad you did. In this packet, you'll see that before COVID hit, the village board, as well as the committee members that you see on the first page, started the comprehensive plan. And then COVID hit and everything shut down. And the next couple of pages, you'll see exactly what we were attempting to do. Of course, no public hearings were had at that time. We will have public hearings when we reach certain milestones, so we could keep moving on. Now, I delivered the moratorium up to the state on, I think it was December 1st. I sat down with the people in the Secretary of State office, okay, just to keep it, I was informed that you just can't keep postponing comprehensive. All right, so we have to make sure that we're doing this in a way that everyone is going to agree to it. Well, some people are not going to agree to it, but it's for the village of Washingtonville, and I hope that everyone sitting here, their one agenda is the village of Washingtonville. Okay, that I know, and I'll talk for the 2 board members that are here. The only thing that the village board of trustees has, and I'm sure planning board and zoning board, is the village of Washingtonville. There's no hidden agendas, no nothing. It's the village of Washingtonville. Hopefully we keep.
Can we start a rumor on Facebook?
No.
Well, it's recorded, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I put in here comprehensive plan, themes and goals, just some thoughts of what we should be looking for. It's not, nothing here in this package is written in stone, okay, so like I said, we're all stakeholders, residents, stakeholders within the village of Washington. I put the calendar in here. The next meeting is the 18th with, that's at 7 p.m. And then there's going to be 2 Saturdays, one the 28th of January at 10 a.m. and February 4th, 10 a.m. Now, the one thing that we did say in the very beginning, we'll try to have some during the week also, during the day, in case you can't make one of these. I'm I'm sure there's meetings that you can make, and some you just can't. I can't make the 4th.
I can't do
I'll tell you
Wednesday
right
nights.
now, okay? You know, as we move forward, we're gonna pick up the speed, okay, so we're not called on by the county/state. The county approved our moratorium quickly. I was in constant contact with them. They are thrilled that we're actually doing a comprehensive plan. There's no record of a comprehensive plan in the county ever, and there's none of the state ever for the village of Washington. So, as you can see, we did spend a lot of time. It was both day, I don't think we had weekend meetings. I think we had some meetings way back when. But, yeah, everything starts with the vision. You know, how do we want the vision of Washingtonville to look? Comprehensive plan should be looked at, updated every 5 years. Okay? So we are behind. Guys, if you want to just pull up a seat, you can get tight around the table. Are you?
Hi, how are you?
Carol? What's that? We need to yeah.
Keep adding folding tables.
Yes. And it's like, why am I sitting outside?
Microphone? No. Sorry. That is recording now, everyone knows.
Yeah, the tape, the camera is on, so everything is going to be recorded. Also, if you look at the website under Village Hall, there's drop down where it has comprehensive, drop down schedule for the comprehensive, so whatever we're doing here is going to be. In the event that you're not able to make a meeting, we ask that you just go on the website, look at the minutes. Selena, thank you very much for the minutes, and recording, so you keep you up to date for the next meeting. If you can't make it, you're not going to be penalized or falling off the committee. That's the last thing that we want to do. So, if we could just go around the room and introduce ourselves, that would be great. I'll start. I'm Joe Bucko. I'm the mayor of the Village of Washingtonville. We'll go counterclockwise.
I'm Jimmy Tolar, I'm a trustee on the village board.
Jennifer Yavis, just moved here about 2 months ago.
Hi, welcome.
From?
Queens.
Okay, you knew that was coming.
Selena Roper, resident, realtor, clerk for planning and zoning.
I'm Alma Gonzalez. I own Mathis Creations in town.
I am Carol McCann. I own Hudson Heritage Realty in town.
George Lanza, newly retired after 49 years working for the city of New York.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Susan Wolski, resident, realtor, board member, Orange County IDA. I also have a background in historical research.
Donna Giacoruso, resident, retired teacher.
Tom DeVento, resident, real estate agent as well, quite a few, and also on the town board.
Joanna Wiley, I'm on the planning board, and I have a private business which deals with regulatory issues with the DEC.
Marisa Sampson, resident and trustee to the village board.
Jody Connolly, president, and I am a teacher in Newburgh.
Jim Casassa, my wife and I have about 3 or 4 different businesses in the village, and we still have property in the village.
Hi, I'm Andrea Hyman. I just moved here probably 2 weeks after Jennifer. Thank you.
From?
From Suffolk.
Oh.
I'm a teacher in East Ramapo, and I came up from the town of Ramapo, so I was arranged to be on this committee.
Welcome.
Valerie Lodato, and a trustee on the village board and a resident.
Good night, everyone. So, there's a lot of components involved in comprehensive plan, photography, historical. I know Jim Cazazza once, those of you who did not hear him, he's old, so he said that on this.
His words, his words.
I didn't know either what you said.
My family has been in or near the village in Blooming Grove since 1949. My wife's family since 1954. She lived in the village, went to the village schools, went to college, came back and founded Washingtonville Pediatrics. So I have a long memory of what's happened in Washingtonville. So I might bore you by sharing some of it, but that's why I'm here.
So, we have, what we need to do is the history of Washingtonville and what it was, a lot of statistics. We need people to type on, to get all the, not the minutes, I think the minutes, I think you volunteered to do the minutes, thank you. Sorry to put you on the spot. But really, the two new people to the village are going to be doing most of the work.
The table moving also?
So, any questions? What are we looking for in the comprehensive? Have an open
Zoning.
conversation.
Protect our zoning.
Zones, okay, that's pretty much the
I
gist.
think it's looking at the language of the zoning districts that currently exist and get a greater definition of it. And then, once that's done, look at the bigger picture of the village and see where that needs to be applied and what needs to be changed.
Establishing a vision of what we would like to see in the near future.
Mhm. Okay.
It's not rehearsed, no joke.
I would think a component would be retaining the character of the, I would say facility, of the operation here, of the businesses, of everything, and retain that in a manner that going forward, as you build ratables, et cetera, it still resonates as to the character of the village.
I don't know if it's part of it, but what I would love to see is a system for having all of the civic groups in town or in the village collaborating and having a system of communication between the village and all of the civic groups. So everybody's kind of knowing where everybody stands.
I know Carol is here really as the business person. We need to establish and we have maps that Kathy, if you want to come up and sit around the table. We have two maps that we did back in 2021, again, not in stone, where we created a commercial business district. We also created a celebratory historic district. Okay. Again, those lines.
It's just proposed, yeah, nothing's written in stone.
They were never adopted. They were
No.
proposals.
Never adopted.
Never got to that.
Nothing was ever adopted.
Right.
There were no public hearings to adopt it.
No. So the celebratory historic district, I think the business district would help that for sure. I think we reached up to the winery on North Street. We went down to where the covered bridge was, I believe, past the high school.
Yes.
Okay, the old covered bridge,
The old,
Patricia Lane.
Right.
yes, there's a placard down there that, I think coming this way, we stopped at across the street at, Fairlawn. The old, where Dr. Klein's office is.
Schaefer building, I think.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, right, there's two homes here that were Sears and Roebuck homes, I believe.
Sears Home, the Sears Home is the one across from the Chase Bank, and then down by Carol's, that's the Sears Home there. Yeah. Those are the only two
Yeah.
Sears homes that I can tell by exterior architectural that still have the original
Right.
Sears look. And for those that don't know, from 1924 to the 1954, actually before 1924, I think somewhere around 1907, Sears would sell a kit to build a house. Yeah, yeah, and the house that's
They were
catalog.
trying to
catalog.
build a
Yeah.
catalog after World War
The
II.
house
standing?
across from Chase,
They're excellent.
on the other side of Arrowpoint, that's the
And
Sears
drawings
home.
of
The
them.
largest collection of Sears home right now in the United States is a small town in Ohio that has like 7 still standing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just to mention too, there's a couple of books in the library, and there was one that came out a couple of years ago by, I'm not sure if he's the librarian or assistant.
Matt,
Matt.
yeah. He
There's
wrote
a
book,
number
Moving
of-
Grove in Washington.
Yeah, and there's a number of homes within that book that if you read it, and it's really more pictures, so it's nice, it's easy to go
Yeah.
through. But maybe, the committee could take a look at those types of homes and maybe figure out if we're all in, to try to make them historic, if that would be a possibility.
I have the 1854 map of Blooming Grove
Mhm.
from the Historical Society that points out certain properties. There's also 1891 Headley's History of Orange County that you might be able to glean some information on.
Yeah.
Newburgh Library also has, they have the old newspapers going back from the 1800s that you can pick up information on, as well as census from 1890, 1892, 1900, 1910, and 1920. Told you I did that
Information.
did that for a living, so.
You know, I'd also like to tap into Rose Workman. I think between Jim and Rose Workman,
Yeah,
there's
she
a
knows.
huge,
Is that Alex?
well, Alex's sister,
The barber's sister?
Yes.
Right,
who is still with us. So I think, between Jim and she, there's a wealth of historical information right there.
And there's EJ's book.
Mhm.
okay. Yeah, we have copies of that. You have a copy of it. Around the water report?
Yeah.
I think you were reading that the other day. What do you make out of that?
Good.
Okay.
I like the pictures.
And didn't Linda
Yeah, some
leave
pictures.
a catalog of work behind when she passed away?
Bill has everything that she has, and he was going to hand it off
Okay.
to whoever requested it.
Yeah, okay.
We really don't want to bring it here because it's only going to be moved, because the plan is to move the police department into this building. Okay,
And Moffett Library has a boatload of stuff, or at least they used to in their vaults, because that's where they used to keep like all the memorabilia and stuff.
And Matt, who you mentioned here a moment ago, is the local librarian for history, and he is very interested in history. He's been doing a lot of work cataloging what the library has. They've also been digitalizing a lot of the Orange County posts going all the way back. So information like that that's available to the library, I'll be able to get for you, because I'm a trustee of the library.
So,
Is Matt someone we should reach out to possibly ask him if he wants to join the committee?
We could certainly do that.
Add something? On historic districting, I was 8 years on an empowered commission, and you can bring that as a separate book, actually, when you discuss restoration, replacement, et cetera, establishment of period, all of that criteria, windows, color, everything, landscape.
yeah, oh no, I know
Yeah.
New York State Board of Preservation.
Well,
has got-
SHPO, wait a minute, SHPO's a different thing. That is something that you can tap onto. But when you're crafting your district's historic preservation district, whatever you want to title it, you can go as far as you want. That's what I'm
Right.
saying, you
Oh,
can
yeah.
be your lift on the approvals of the structure.
Well, I think there's a difference between determining what something is of historical significance and then getting into historical preservation.
Yeah,
You have
there's
to
a,
be
there's a
careful.
difference, there's the contributory factors, there's all kinds of factors like that, but you're right, but there's a list of criteria.
So I think that's something we need to look at. Do we wanna do like a historic overlay district, much like they have in Monroe, which extends past where you have post-mid-century modern housing, to a historic district in itself where you're preserving the character of the external features of a house, and you must use certain materials for that qualification.
Well, mustard's similar to it is, because today you can have, the reproduction.
Right, or like, that's what
segments,
it's
that's
saying,
right,
it has
that's
to
right.
have, but it must, the facade of a facility must maintain a certain integrity and cannot be changed that front elevation,
Well,
so.
the other thing is, you have to have a selection of the roofing materials.
Right.
You know, it gets very, I don't wanna take up all that time.
Right, and
I'm
that's
just
what I'm
saying,
saying,
it's
but
a,
this is
it's a
something
big lift.
The committee needs to make a decision on how they wanna treat historic. That's, you know, there's a broad range there, and it's gonna have to be consensus of the people at this table with approval of the residents on what's gonna be acceptable.
Yeah, do we expand, when that happen?
On the ground.
You know, there's a celebratory historic district which we created, again, not adopted, not approved by anyone. And we went with lot and block numbers. I think we could probably go with house numbers to make it easier for everyone. But I believe well, it was definitely the winery, North Street. I don't know how far we went on South Street.
You went past my house, it
Yeah.
looks like, yeah,
Okay.
looks like you went up to the Presbyterian church, the old Presbyterian
Yeah,
church.
okay. Again, you know, a couple of things, you mentioned zoning, obviously zoning is on everyone's minds. I look at the school district, and I believe the middle school is in the same zone, residential agricultural. Okay?
The high school, now, yeah, that's RA over
Yeah,
there.
they're all right.
The middle school, I don't know what half
I think,
is,
the high school is too, right?
I believe so.
The high school and middle school are RA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so is that something that we want to keep? A lot of things,
Except for
Just
across
throwing
the
things
street
out
for
there,
some reason,
okay?
that's in, NA.
you know, looking at the legend on both of the maps, on the bottom right, do we have too many zones? I think these, I'm asking the same questions that we asked ourselves back in 2001.
So is there any way we can get this PDF to us so we can
We can, yeah.
have time in between meetings to chew
Yes,
on it?
It's PDF now, so it's just a
Right.
matter of getting, that's why it's important that we have everyone's email. And instead of emailing individuals like it was last week, we'll just put out a group email, hopefully everyone's fine with that.
I mean, I think for me personally,
I did sign, thank you.
For anyone who showed up late, if you don't mind.
my starting place would be to get something like this PDF, and then the written output of what our current zoning language is for each district that we currently have.
Well, you had mentioned that these look like
Novels.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
Well, I just need the 175, that's
Yeah,
it.
they were encyclopedias.
But even the
Back then.
175 still has to be
Yeah.
shared.
We
Yeah,
have
so we don't wanna
one
hand out the
from
wrong.
1995, and we have one from 1980. And here's the issue that we've been dealing with. This was in a green book, okay? Might not make sense to you right now. This is in the blue book. This was adopted by the village board prior to us, but it was never a public hearing. Okay? We have to, and we're in the process of
see they're different
looking
sizes.
over each word, okay, because the different chapters. The wording's probably the same, in most cases it is, but we have to make sure, and then we have to adopt this. So this is the blue book. So once we have the blue book adopted, we can get rid of the green, and then we can work off this one, and we'll call it a red book. And that would be part of, what's it?
Or a new book.
Or a new book, and that would be part of the comprehensive plan for the next 5 years, okay, and then whatever, however it works from there. But that's what we've been doing. it's pretty interesting, to say the least. But we just have to make sure that the chapters are, you know, so if you were to get something from the building department, it might say chapter 1, swimming pool's chapter 1 in this book, but it's really chapter 73 in this book.
Oh, my goodness.
So the numbering is completely
Yeah.
different.
73-4.
Have that all equate into what we have online in the e-codes.
What's online is not.
This one,
It's that one.
it's this one.
And it needs to be, well,
It needs to be
the
this
red
one.
one. As soon as
Sorry,
we
a
give
new book.
it a color, I don't know.
Well, this is green, blue,
Yeah.
and we could just go with red. Let's go with red.
Oh, come on, but you know what?
That's gonna be a vote later, but it could be on the public hearing.
Pick the color of the
Pick the color of the book.
Who's gonna make that motion?
Something that's gonna get people's attention. Anyway, getting back to the document that's in front of you, okay, please take time between now and Wednesday of next week. Those of you who came in late, we are going to have a visitor, John Bayer, our planner, will be coming down, spending the day here in the village, and will be attending that meeting Wednesday night. Also, I put an email out to Kate Schmidt, she's from the Orange County Planning Department. Hopefully, she'll be here, and possibly Alan Sorensen, who is the commissioner. They're thrilled that we're actually taking this on. So am I. You can see it in my face.
Will our engineer be here as well?
I'm not disagreeing, but, you know,
I don't say,
we could have him here, if he's available.
well, just when we get to like land usage and stuff like that, an engineer's gonna have the
We got that,
insight
yes, yes. I
into
don't know if next week is that time, but,
flood zones and
Yeah.
stuff like that and
yeah, we
soil
have to redo
comprehension.
all our maps. I know the planning board is looking at a map, right, that it might have been updated. Okay, things might have changed, so we really have to know what's right and, you know, what's wrong. You know, our planning board, prior to this planning board, used to meet once a month, and you really have to meet twice a month, planning boards. All right, there has to be
I think
a
John
work
is gonna give us
session.
more direction on what
Yes,
different committees to do.
I mean, he's going to be the
certain
person that we against, and then it has to go through the attorneys and so forth. To be adopted the right way. Looking in here, comprehensive plan, themes and goals, just some titles: provide, strengthen, connect, build, and protect. You might want to add to that for the next meeting. Again, these are just thoughts. Okay? Nothing, believe me, nothing is, I do, yes. I have Ardsley in there. It's really the village of Washingtonville. Ardsley is a very nice place. It's a village.
It's expensive.
I wasn't gonna go there, but thank you. And again, you know, this will be put on our website, so that I can just see that growing rapidly.
We actually did a survey back then. We did the online
Yeah.
survey, 254 participants.
Hey, I participated.
It was,
No monkey, I was.
More than we get to vote, so I guess,
I was going to print that out, but I believe it was like 151 pages,
yeah, no.
so that would be good. But we will put that on.
I could probably condense it, just summarize it. It's interesting. It's what everybody's thinking. We're all on the same
I think
page.
it was Survey Monkey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
Did you say that? You said Monkey?
monkey, yeah, it was monkey.
A lot of good questions. And a lot of good,
And there was a lot of comments, which was good.
Concerns.
Was at the time actually
Yeah.
read through it.
I wish more people would be into this here. Maybe we'll grow. Hopefully I'm not typing at the last minute. I'm the only person left.
Another person showing up.
You know, I don't want it
We'll
to
only go on show, it's
become,
okay.
I really don't want it to
Same for
become like
pizza.
the PTAs.
Everybody.
You
Yeah.
know, where everyone shows up in September and no one's left in May. And they want to know when there's no bus trips.
I never did PTA.
You have this?
Not yet, and I'm about to, something.
So that's really what,
Basically just an intro for tonight.
yeah.
Joe, do you have any idea of like timeframes of the meetings? I know they start at 7, but are you gonna try to keep them to a minimum of 3 hours, 2 hours? An hour?
Bring a sleeping
Or are you
bag.
just gonna go?
No, we'll have much more direction once we meet with John.
Yeah, I
He's
don't
gonna
think
give us
we
more of
want
a
that.
path to follow,
Gotcha.
not like, hey.
We want people to come back.
Translation, do we need to
We want them to come back.
Do I need to bring my
Yeah.
special water bottle?
I don't want to get to
No.
the point when I was in school of architecture, they call it shredding,
Mhm.
where you just go and go and go until you drop.
Fall asleep and drop.
Sounds like Congress.
Yeah, but we have a clue.
I have a question. One of the things that I think resonating on what we're all saying here is I'm imagining this planner who's coming and getting paid, is going to also manage our interim target goals, because the state's very sensitive to
Yes.
this long progressive, right? So I think it helps everybody if we would know what our interim targets are, right?
Right.
So that when we get here, we're ready to work
Right.
and then respond to this person. So we don't go, if we go afield, we're not too far afield,
Right.
you know,
And I think
that's
we
what I would
set
be
up
looking
this-
for.
Yeah,
Well,
we set up a
how-
potential calendar, but I think it really depends on what John directs us to.
Oh, yeah, it's gotta get much tighter than that.
Right,
I mean, we can all
exactly.
make calendars, but.
Right.
Yeah, you know, he gave us a laundry list,
Mhm.
with a bottom number. That bottom number could grow. I like it to shrink, so the more that we could do as a committee, okay?
Whether it's
Like,
photography or.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I need him to, his firm to draw a park car on Main Street with trees around it. I don't think we need it. You know, whatever we can save. His number was $80,000,
Mhm.
okay? I think by the time we are said and done with everything, legal fees and so forth, it's gonna be up there. It could be like $200,000.
Is he attending most of the meetings, some of the meetings?
For somebody from his firm.
Someone from his firm.
Every meeting?
I don't know if we want him every meeting, but that's something that we could discuss with
Working on
him.
smaller costs.
You know, they're traveling down from Saratoga, it's not our problem.
Maybe we could
Depends.
have him up there and we could just do Zoom in
Yeah,
most, in
exactly.
some of the cases. We could be here as a group,
Yeah.
but
You know,
save
whatever.
him
I like
$200
that.
an hour travel time.
Yeah,
From
maybe
Schenectady.
just gives us some direction, you know,
We
maybe
do
the
have-
next meeting would
Yeah,
make
Just to
exactly.
get an
You could get
update.
him a
We
report.
don't need him to
every
drive
time.
down here,
You
sit
know,
across the
pretty
table
smart.
and tell him. Well, we could try.
As long as we don't do a Monticello. Monticello redid their Main Street to try and create more foot traffic and better parking, and it sucks.
You know, the foot traffic, we go back to, there was a term being thrown around in 2021 of placemaking. Okay, haven't heard that term anymore, I don't know if they're still using it, I just haven't heard it, doesn't mean that I'm up to date on everything. But,
At
you
one
know,
point,
we want walkability within the village. Safe. You know, I think everyone.
And the Heritage Trail.
The Heritage Trail, that's really, the last time I met with Kate Schmidt and Alan Sorensen, we did walk a lot of the trail. They can't wait for that to be done. And they claim that they're not gonna have any problems with the neighbors along the trail. Okay, you hold that.
Okay.
They were at
Uh,
placemaking,
yeah.
and they weren't doing that. Look at that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
You hold that thought, Ally, okay, you get back to me
Yeah.
on that. It's a change, and no one wants change. Okay, that's just the way it is. But we have to, some change isn't good. Some change is very good. we as a village have to decide what's good change, what's not good change.
Joe, do we need to be looking at the village sign law along the way?
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
It's a chapter in itself.
We're all over the
Literally.
place with, you know, with the signs. I think for a while, when things were going well, when they had the gooseneck lights
Mhm.
coming down the signs, and then for some reason,
Well, how did Monell get that new sign up there?
you're not getting an answer from me.
What? No, Monell
Yeah.
has an internally lit sign, which is
Yes.
against village code.
Yes. I hear you. We all hear, we all hear.
And unless it was.
So does the
some-
police department,
Mhm.
okay?
Just inquiring minds are asking.
Yes, yes.
That brings up an issue though, because other businesses want it. They, like the VFW really
Correct.
wanted an electrified sign.
Right.
You know, so.
I'm just saying, but I remember back in '95 when I worked on the ARB, it was a big thing, not putting those internally lit signs, and it was done for the integrity of the village.
Well, and I don't remember what year, but unless it's been changed since then, the village and the chamber had many, many meetings and came to what ultimately was the sign law, but I don't know what changes might have been made since then.
No changes.
No
since
changes are made.
Since we're here, going on 6 years.
I think a lot had to
That
do
was
when
95. I don't
Brotherhood
remember
went
what
in,
year we did that.
and they were doing all of their
It was
lighting.
about
And then you had that
94, 95.
reflective
Probably right.
Yeah.
backlight type of a thing.
Okay.
And then it came down to the street signs on 94 to be externally with some type of lighting, and it's supposed to all turn off at 10 o'clock in respect to the residents that are still
Right, 'cause
living on the street.
we had a fight with F&J's about their signs. And then I remember there was an issue of different businesses where Amada's wanted to put one up that didn't meet the current code, because they're not supposed to be more than so thick.
Okay.
I just need to start a whole sign.
No, no, no,
conversation.
but it's something that,
You talk about it
you
like
know,
every meeting when we have to approve a sign permit, it comes up and we're like, oh, we gotta work on this, you know.
you know, you look at Brotherhood, you know, Tom mentioned Brotherhood, Stop and Shop is a
Question here.
backlit sign. Okay, all the stores in that plaza is eternally lit sign. The lights are inside.
Mhm.
The manager of Brotherhood, I don't know if they still are the managers, Pyramid, he wanted to put a big sign similar to what they have at Five Corners. I said, we got a reconnection, please give me a call back. That's crazy, you know, but we have to decide, how do businesses work if there's no signage?
I think it just needs to be reasonable.
Sorry, I'm just curious, if someone puts up a sign like that that's not, up to code, what do you do then? Like, do they have to take it down, or are they fined, or if they don't pay a fine? Because my thing is like, if you can't enforce something, then what's the sense, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times people will do things.
The signs that have been
Yeah.
coming up to the village board,
Okay.
we had the Washingtonville Nail and Spa,
Mhm.
by, it's just a flat sign. There's a
They're
light on
Verizon,
the outside. It's a little crooked. We don't install it, we don't get crooked. There's a new storefront going into Brotherhood, Remarkable Water.
Yeah, they're open now.
Are they open now? There's no lights on that sign at all. What other signs came up in front of?
The Orange County Transit.
Yeah.
Orange County Transit, but
Those
don't,
Orange County Transit, yes.
don't they need to go before the architectural review board?
Which is the village board.
Right,
Orange County, you know, there's a number in here, so many square feet of sign to so many square foot of the.
Very specific.
Yeah.
right, so are they not coming before the board, or
No,
they
no,
just?
they
Oh,
are.
They even got approved.
Yeah.
And
they did all get
Yeah.
approved?
Yeah,
Yes.
they were,
Oh, yeah.
they followed the rules.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, actually, the spa place
We
had
made
a problem, they had to
recommendations.
take it down,
Yes.
and then.
So to answer your question.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Yes.
The thing is, what's happened in the past, that, I don't know if that's what you're talking about, how do you enforce that, I don't know.
You know, we could have as many codes on the book as possible. If you can't enforce, or you don't enforce them, it doesn't matter. Okay? So whatever codes we have in here are only as strong as the code enforcement.
And
Which is building inspector.
Which is building inspector.
Well, which is also, with 7,000 residents, it's only as good as the people who bring it to the attention of people in leadership.
Well, as far as the businesses, you know, nothing could really,
Slide by.
they'll do, look, people, I think it's human nature that they'll try to do whatever they can do until they get caught. But as far as homes are concerned, you know, there's a lot of open permits that we inherited
Oh, I know.
through the years. And somebody who's living in the village for 25 years and they finish their basement with no permit, what do?
I can tell you what New Windsor does. They make you open up a permit.
Yeah, if it's up to me, you take down the wall to see what's there.
That's what they did in my hometown. Take it
Yeah.
down,
And you
post
get
it.
a
Yeah.
professional to come in and take it
And
down.
we have done that in some cases. There was a resident in Woodfield that had a second kitchen in the house. Went back and forth, and there was a permit. Actually, the drawings were submitted by Rieger to the village at the time to permit this unit in there. So you can't do anything with that.
It's how it was built
It was how it was built.
It
It
was
was
built and
allowed to
approved.
be built
and approved.
like that.
It just wasn't closed down, so they have to get the final inspection.
No, it was closed. Everything was done.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's 30 years
When
old.
they went to sell it now,
It was an as-built.
a question came up about the kitchen, and said you can't have a second kitchen, because that's the rules. And
Right.
Turns out,
Yeah,
when they
it's,
started investigating.
it's,
it out,
it's like that
that was
hamster
already
on the
approved.
wheel, you just keep going round and round and round. You know, there's up in, where it was approved for a celebratory kitchen in Highgrove. That's 2 kitchens.
Without declaring
Nothing
an
in here,
accessory apartment, just a second kitchen.
nothing in here says that's legal. Take it out. Okay, now what dictates a kitchen? A stove.
Well, New York
Well-
State Code says a place to prepare and cook food. That's the state code,
Right.
which is the minimum.
Well, a stove. You could have a sink in every room in the house. You could put a microwave in every room.
But
in the
technically,
house.
that's what I'm saying, a microwave can constitute a kitchen, because it can cook
Right.
food, a toaster oven can cook
I don't
food.
think
No,
we can
no,
go,
you have to get into it, there's permanency tests,
Yes.
all kinds of things. I mean, you can't carry an oven around and say, oh, they're all kitchens.
right.
You know what I'm saying? There's
I
certain
understand what
integrity
you're
of
saying, I'm
construction
just saying
there.
the code is so
But that's what the
vague
codes,
though.
that's what the codes are for.
So as a newbie who's trying to sort of absorb it all, is there any talk, or does this involve any kind of preservation of green space, similar to what Warwick does? Is that part of the plan, is it part of the vision?
That's up to this committee.
Mhm.
Okay, I do know that there was something in the paper last week where
PDR.
our governor
Yeah.
vetoed
Yeah.
land in Chester.
Chester and Blooming Grove,
Um,
twice,
So there you have it.
not really
She
happy.
started off with a bang. What's that? Yes.
Yeah,
So
yes.
to answer that question.
1 million new housing
so
units
vetoed
this
by
year,
parties, we do-
with an emphasis on suburban areas around transportation hubs. Guess what we have?
PDR process.
Transportation.
I think he has the floor.
PDR process is purchase of development rights, where a person who owns a piece of property sells off the right to develop that property, but retains the ownership of the land. That in effect compensates the property owner. Chester has had, Warwick has had a PDR plan for 25 to 30 years. It's funded, every property in Warwick that gets sold pays an extra portion of transfer tax, which funds the PDR. Chester and Blooming Grove have tried to get into that process. They've had their local legislators introduce that law. I believe it's passed both the Assembly and the Senate,
Yep.
and it's been vetoed by a succession of governors. Maybe the governors are being influenced by certain you know, support groups that support them rather strongly, I don't know. But as Tom says, you know, the town is very unhappy because they've been trying to develop that and have gotten nowhere with it. That's one way of preserving open space that spreads the cost over everybody in the town whoever buys property.
You know, Warwick does good with their preservation. I mean, I know of hundreds of acres
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
So
They've been
20
doing
years
it for
behind.
20 or 30 years.
Just revised their comprehensive.
yeah, but no, actually Blooming Grove's tried, what, Tom, about 6-7 years already to get that through?
Well, the process has probably been along that time, yeah, but then when we finally got it approved by,
Yeah,
you
Cuomo
know, our
vetoed it 2
local
times, and Hope
assembly
just vetoed it.
and so forth.
Just like catch
And then when it gets to her desk and his desk, they killed it
But
right on the spot.
keep in mind the specific areas that were, not approved were Orange County. They were approved in other places of the state. They got one approved over by Binghamton.
So I think what Jim said is probably more in line with what's going on.
Tell me that's not true.
I'm just reading the tea leaves, that's all. If you want some history, go back to when I was on the school board, and Monroe was having an issue in their school district, and a private school district was created, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that it was a religious school district and it couldn't exist. And I think it took about a week to get a new law introduced in Albany, approved by the Assembly, approved by the Senate, and signed by the governor. It was record time for approving a new school district that happened to follow the suggestion of the Supreme Court justice who said, well, this is illegal, but if it had this and this, it probably wouldn't be.
And that was Governor Tappan's Bridge, right?
Pardon me?
That was Governor Tappan's Bridge?
No, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was-
that's right.
No, that was
We're gonna change
before.
that.
Oh, beforehand? Okay.
That was during Daddy's administration.
Roosevelt?
It was Pataki.
It was Pataki, yeah.
Tappan's Bridge.
I like the,
The Governor Malcolm Wilson.
that's what I
So,
call it.
certain things you can get done very quickly,
Yeah, you know that.
and certain things never get done.
You know that? So good night.
Any other comments, questions?
Is this the schedule for now of the?
Yes, yeah.